Welcome to the Valley Up Podcast, your inside track on Vaqueros sports. This week, host Isaac Serna sits down with UTRGV football's head coach Travis Bush and his father Bruce Bush, director of high school relations. Travis is molding the Vaqueros for their 2025 debut, while Bruce, a Texas Hall of Fame coach, lends decades of wisdom to the Valley. This father-son team shares their story of building a program from the ground up. Tune in with Isaac only on the Valley Up Podcast.
The Valley Up Podcast is sponsored by
Harness the strength of a warrior and the wisdom of a sensei in your fight for justice. Step into the Justice Dojo, where every legal challenge is met with the focus and precision of a black belt sensei.
Ready? Fight!
Justice with honor. Contact Daniel San Gonzalez today.
My name is April, and recently I was involved in a motor vehicle accident, and I was referred here by my doctor. I've been very pleased with the experience that I've had here at Brush Creek. My daughter was with me in the accident, so I was very motivated to get better, get back on my feet. I was definitely 100% ready to come back each and every single time. The first week I was kind of scared to come, but little by little they encouraged me to keep coming. Each week I saw progress. If you have been hurt in a car accident, I would definitely recommend Brush Creek. Brush Creek alleviated my pain. They increased my mobility and brought me back to my everyday activities of daily living.
At Brush Creek Injury and Accident, we specialize in helping you recover after an accident. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, a slip and fall, or any other injury, our expert team is here to provide the care you need. Because your recovery is our priority.
Welcome back to the Valley Up Podcast, brought to you by the Law Office of Attorney Daniel Gonzalez. I'm your host, Isaac Serna, and I've got three special guests today. The first guest we have is the man who keeps the lights on here, pays the bills for the Valley Up Podcast, Attorney Daniel Gonzalez. We also have head coach of the brand new UTRG Vaquero football team, Travis Bush. And to my left, the legendary Hall of Fame coach, Bruce Bush. Coach Bush, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Sir, it's also a pleasure to have you here. Yeah. Daniel, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
No, it's been a pleasure.
It's great, Coach. I mean, it's an absolute honor to be sitting next to a legend like yourself. I mean, you've been in the game, for so long. I kind of want to know, what's it like? I tried my game in the coaching business. I didn't even get to sniff the kind of career you guys had. But what's it like, being in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's a very special honor, and certainly the Rio Grande Valley has been a very big part of that for me because the years I had down here at PSJ back in the 80s, mm-hmm. and then certainly, the years I had at Donna and then coming back to PSJ North and finishing up down here was a big part of that. And I know, I remember Richard Flores and the great coach here at Edinburgh, the big game we had with Edinburgh back in, 81, I guess. And Richard was on the selection committee when I was selected to the Hall of Honor, and I'm sure Richard had a big part in it. Mm-hmm. So I owe special thanks to him. And I think PSJ is very special to me because they're good people. PSJ is good people, the administrators, and they take care of their people. And they not only hired me once, they hired me twice to come back to PSJ North. And I got to coach some of the kids who I had on the 81 team. And so that was really special to be a part of all that. So a special thanks to PSJ ISD for hiring me those times because I think that's probably what's basically led to the Hall of Honor, along with winning a few football games along the way. So thank you.
No problem. Coach, you say special, and you had your first 2 years there at PSJA from 81 to 83. Coach, you only lost 3 games in that time frame. You were 19-3.
You should have seen the kids we had. you should have seen the kids. We had Sam Ramirez and just great size on our football team, and Gilbert, the great running back that Gilbert was, and I could go on and on about the players that we had there at that time. Great coaching staff as well. David Rivera was one of them, and Gonzalo Gonzalez we talked about, Danny Reyna, and just Hector Cuevas. And some of the coaches I had on the staff were outstanding. And it was just the right place at the right time. And no one had really, we talked about the slot T a little bit. Nobody had seen the slot T at that time. And I'd coached on the staff. We won the state championship under Doug Etheridge in '75. And so I had been firsthand with the guy that ran it the best. And over the years, I got a lot of credit for being the godfather or whatever of the slot T. I get a lot of credit.
Yes, you do.
Deserve.
Yes, sir.
And that was one of them, Doug Etheridge. And at one time when I was at Alice, they wrote an article in the corpus paper about me developing the slot T. And so I called Doug and I said, I'm going to send you this article about how great I am in the slot T. I said, but I owe him the credit.
Yeah, and kind of jumping ahead because, with your time at PSJ North, we were under Coach Orlando Garcia, who also ran the slot T. And then when he moved on to the athletic director and you took over as the head coach, they kind of told us, they said, well, he's basically the master of the slot T. And so we were thinking we're in good hands. And it turned out that we were.
Well, Orlando always ran out of the right set. If you remember correctly, I'm the first guy that taught y'all the left set. So we were able to flip-flop the offensive line, and by doing that, you're able to focus your best people on their weakest people, which is one of the things I really look a lot at personnel and the defensive personnel, and able to focus on putting my best blockers and best running backs, running plays in certain areas where they got their weakest people. So being able to flip-flop, you're able to do that. But Orlando's a great friend. He was a great coach. And he had a great record there at PSG North as well as being one of the top athletic directors in the state of Texas.
And Coach, I mean, I played for you, and I remember running, 349, all those great plays. But one of the things about the slot T is you got to run it to perfection, right? All the blocks have to be blocked. If not, then they're coming in and stopping you behind the lines, right? So you got to know exactly what you're doing. And I remember, you would get after us, make sure that we, got all the blocks correctly, we ran the play correctly. A few times I remember, you'd get after us, but that's what was necessary for us to, be successful that 09 season.
Well, Daniel, how many times did I say, do it again? Let's
Quite
do that again.
Quite a bit.
And sometimes quite emphatically and throwing my hat down.
I remember that one.
Say, we're doing that again.
And then the whistle too. I remember that one. That was the one time I remember. Yeah, we.
Yeah, so you remember, we to be successful in any offense, I think you got to execute, and execution was a big part of our game, and that's what makes us successful.
Yes, sir.
Well, you'll forget, I played for him too.
Oh, yeah?
So we ran the slot T. It's been 30 years. We're about to have our 30-year reunion. But, hearing y'all talk, same way my buddies get together, and we talk about 349 and that block on 228 and who jumped off sides because they didn't go on the 200 series against Carlisle. You remember those things.
When I was coaching, and, I always explained how the slot T was just, it's really it's so simple, It's got everything you need right there. The first play is the series. There's your snap count. The second number tells you who's getting the ball. Third number tells you where we're going. And it kind of, just flowed in like that. And it's kind of like, how can you jump off sides when you know what the play is or getting the false
start? All the
quarterback
steps 30 years later.
Oh, yes.
Of course, he had me doing those before I could walk.
Oh, there we go. What was that like? You've been a coach's son your whole life. What kind of experience and knowledge did you gain firsthand just from watching?
Just so much, because as a kid, they worked so much. That was the only time I could go hang out with them. So I lived in the field house. I lived there in the summer and was around every quarterback drill, all those voluntary quarterback drills they did in the summer in the gym where no one could see, and all the practices and coaches meetings. So just being around, he talks about the good coaches. I mean, these were the guys I listened to as an elementary kid, and watching the teams, the toughness, and just, hearing those plays and seeing the successful season. I remember games back in the 80s at PSGA, and then the tough teams at Alice. So me growing up and then finally having that opportunity and basically utilizing everything you've learned 10, 15 years before that.
Right.
Was kind of an advantage. We were pretty good too.
Travis, what was it like, being a coach's son? You're around pretty much the entire time. What kind of knowledge and perspective did you gain throughout that time?
It was cool because, we talked about growing up in the field house. That was the only chance to see him, and, being around even those teams from far in the 80s, and Alice and all, being around all those good coaches meetings. I mean, I lived up there around the players and all the workouts and practices. So just seeing that over the years, understanding the offense at a young age, and on the sideline riding the bus every Friday night, it was that. So when it was finally our time, and we junior high, we already knew our junior high team knew the offense as good as the varsity guys, because I'd had to run it for so long. So it's no, it was neat. It was wouldn't change a thing. My boys got to do the same thing. It's a great way to grow up and be around that mentality, that toughness of the players and coaches.
It really does kind of shape your character, your mentality, like you said, like your mental toughness, the actual toughness of how you can be, because you're growing up around these grown kids and these men that are they're also in a sense raising you. Mm-hmm. Coach, I want to ask you, when you see this picture, what kind of time was it at that time? What kind of game was it back then?
Well, that picture was actually taken in Livingston, Texas, where I was leaving Livingston and coming to PSJ. You can see it's a 1980 program from
the year before.
Year before PSJ, and I came down and spent a couple of days and went back before I was officially hired there in February, and I took a program back and all the film. And my wife, being from Mercedes, with the maiden name of Palacios, we sat and looked at that program, and she went over my pronunciation of Villaseñor and Villapando and a lot of the names I may not have pronounced well. So I made sure when I came down I could pronounce all the names. I looked at all the film. I knew the kids' numbers, and I'd say, "Well, you're number 80, and boy, you really did a good job against San Benito last year." And it was a great district back then because we were all Valley schools. We were all 5A schools, or what wasn't 5A then, but Edinburgh and McAllen and PSJ and Mission and Weslaco and Harlingen were all in the same district. So it was all one school. There wasn't multiple schools, and so every week we had 10,000 people there. The stands were full. First game we played Mike High, there was no aluminum to be seen up in those bleachers. And of course the Edinburgh game, we had some great games the 2 years against Edinburgh, and all of them. I mean, Harlingen was always a grudge match, and we only played Brownsville. Hannah was the only team out of Brownsville we played. But San Benito always had good football teams. Robert Cortez was there at that time, being a great player at A&M and the great coach that he is. So it was a great time. Richard Flores, John Lerma was at Donna during that time, and I played Donna the first game of the year. John Lerma and Richard Flores are great names here in the Rio Grande Valley, and what they've contributed to the game of football. And like I said, I owe Richard, I think, a lot of credit, I think, for getting me into the Texas High School Coach Association Hall of Honor, because he was on that selection committee, and I really thank him a lot for that.
And Coach, real quick, I want to ask, what would you say the difference is between coaching in the past versus coaching like closer to the present? Like, as in, like, is there a difference? Or, I mean, I know that you would probably try to coach the same, but would you say there's a different coaching vibe right now, so to speak?
Daniel, times have changed since back then, and I think the I don't want to say social media, but we had a 16 millimeter film back then, and all the coaches we were kind of micromanagers, and we were workaholics. Kids nowadays work much smarter, and they have better, what's the video stuff y'all have? The technology, but you don't have films now. You have
huddles.
Right.
I couldn't think of huddle. You got the different huddles, and they just exchange films, electronically, and we had to drive and get the film developed in the middle of the night, so we could look at the film the next morning and show it to the kids.
I mean, even in the early 2000s, we're still doing that, right?
I kind of lost track of time somewhere along the way. Maybe COVID had something to do with that. I don't know, but yeah, we've changed a lot over the years, and back then, coaches, we were workaholics. We spent the whole time up here, like Travis was talking about, because we had to look at the films. And I remember the year we won the state championship, 1975. We were driving all over, getting films and trading films, and we played for the state championship on December the 20th. We played Odessa Permian up in the old Cowboy Stadium and won the state championship. And when we came home, got home about 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife was in labor, and Travis was born the next day.
Hey.
And we came home after the day in the hospital, and we didn't even have a Christmas tree. Because I said, this is our Christmas present, because I hadn't had time to go get a Christmas tree or do anything for Christmas. We'd worked straight through since July, really.
What a year then, right? What a year
What
for
a year,
you.
yeah. Travis was born that year and won state championship, and he had a nickname of Champ for a long time until he got tired of it.
With UTRGV, is this the first official time that you guys get to actually work together?
Not really, no. Actually, when I was at San Marcos, Travis was playing his senior year at Texas State, and the superintendent somehow got the rumor, and we'd been pretty successful at San Marcos the years I'd been there. He got the rumor that when Travis graduated, I was leaving. So he came to me and gave me the opportunity to hire Travis on staff, and so we did, and it gave Travis a little bit of a because he'd been in San Marcos and it kind of had become his home because I'd traveled around so much, gave him the opportunity to coach there for a year and coach with me. So we spent that year together. I think we had a pretty good year. We went 11-1, 11-2, something like that.
Yeah, no, it was a good team.
Would that be technically like your introduction into coaching?
Yeah, it was my first job out of college, and it was a goal. At that point, I had always won. I was dead set on being a high school coach, and then two, I always wanted to work for him. Got to play for him, and really wanted the opportunity to work for him, and where I got that year, was on that year at San Marcos, and was actually our defensive coordinator that year. Jerry Vance got the head job at Liberty Hill. Of course, he went up there and won some state championships at Liberty Hill. But I was a day away from going to be his offensive coordinator at Liberty Hill. In fact, I was driving there to sign the contract to teach, and I got a call from TCU from an old college coach to get me in, got me a job up there at TCU and got me in the college system back in 2001.
So I remember reading that first job for you there, you were an offensive line assistant. How was that like?
It was the best thing that's ever happened to me as an offensive guy. Of course, I'd always been a skill guy, played quarterback, high school receiver in college, and really knew a lot about that. And they threw the graduate assistants with the line with the biggest position. So really, those 3 years of being down in the trenches and really understanding run game, D-line, defense, all the protections, angles,
blocking schemes,
is really what was what helped become an offensive coordinator down the road. And then even now that experience, and it was neat. By about the third year, I could take half the line, I could coach them, and it was to really understand what goes on in there really helps putting game plans together and understanding how the front end and back end go together. So best thing that could have happened to me as an offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like that's where, I mean, the play starts when the quarterback gets the ball, right? But technically, that play does not start until that offensive line goes.
Yeah. Everyone can draw up good pass routes, but how you protecting it? How are you handling situations? Where are the best the run angles to get to take advantage of techniques the defense is playing and use that against them? So again, a lot of stuff going back to things he talked about of attacking defenses. It still relates no matter what offense you're doing. But again, there's so much goes back to the coaches I grew up around and him and the mentalities and all the things you learn from the ins and outs of coaching and game planning, practice, and then relationships with your players. A lot of it stems back from his coaches.
What was that first year like when you got to work with him, as far as like did it meet your expectations, as far as like what it was going to be like, the basically the good and the bad?
No, it was cool. I laugh, because some of the coaches on staff had actually coached me back in high school too at Gregory Portland. Of course, everyone graduates college. You think you know it all, and of course, I played college football, and I'm coming here. But the thing to have those guys that would tell me to shut my mouth. Listen, you don't know anything. Go do the laundry. Go set the field equipment up. You're going to do what you're supposed to. And so those guys that can really treat you like a son as well really help me kind of ground me right off the bat and humble you and really understand that, hey, you need to learn from these guys and just pay attention. So it was good. It was humbling, but it was good. Great year. Learned from, again, an amazing staff. I don't know how many of those guys went on to be head coaches, but I think about 7 of the 10 coaches were head coaches from that staff after that, which even going back to his career, I think there was one time, I think I counted at that point, 40 of his assistants had become head coaches, that had been on his staff at one point, myself included. So it's, again, all goes back to learning from him the detail of the organization and planning and how to run a program.
The Valley Up podcast is sponsored by
Harness the strength of a warrior and the wisdom of a sensei in your fight for justice. Step into the Justice Dojo, where every legal challenge is met with the focus and precision of a black belt sensei.
Ready? Fight!
Justice with honor. Contact Daniel San Gonzalez today.
My name is April, and recently I was involved in a motor vehicle accident, and I was referred here by my doctor. I've been very pleased with the experience that I've had here at Brush Creek. My daughter was with me in the accident, so I was very motivated to get better, get back on my feet. I was definitely 100% ready to come back each and every single time. The first week I was kind of scared to come, but little by little they encouraged me to keep coming. Each week I saw progress. If you have been hurt in a car accident, I would definitely recommend Brush Creek. Brush Creek alleviated my pain. They increased my mobility and brought me back to my everyday activities of daily living.
At Brush Creek Injury and Accident, we specialize in helping you recover after an accident. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, a slip and fall, or any other injury, our expert team is here to provide the care you need. Because your recovery is our priority.
What's a great memory that you all have coaching together right now, and even maybe that 1 year? What would you say?
Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, I think the times we had the times we had my senior year was a good group. We made a pact as a team that our group had gone when he first got to Gregory Portland. We were seventh graders, and we were kind of the first group to come all the way through the program and to work our tails off to go undefeated, win district 10-0, beat Cal Allen those years. Was fun, the experience we had on a daily basis, and then the year we coached, again, same situation, good team, and really what I learned, the opportunity to be there on the sideline with him. We go 10-0 again, and it was a fun year. So, but lots of memories through the years of.
No, that's awesome.
I'll never forget. So there is one story, because I always, back in the day, the coaches, I always grew up. They'd always take an RV trip and go on the. Go to clinics, they play golf along the way. They go out to Angelo Clinic, and then, so it's about 5 or 6 coaches, and then I always wanted to be included, and, and they never would let me go. So finally I'm about to coach with, so I'm like, hey, I'm finally one of the boys. They invited me to San Angelo. I was like, all right, I'm going to get to go be one of the boys and play cards in the RV. And so we get about 5 miles out of town. They said, Bush, you're driving. Get up here, so they can go back, and they're playing cards. And I'm straight out. I'm driving an RV, pulling a truck or something, and the only reason they invited me was to make me drive so they could have fun.
Hey, is it my turn? No, you keep driving. Yeah. Oh, wow.
The initiations of a young coach. Hey, pull into this McDonald's. I'm like, I'm trying to pull an RV, pulling a trailer into McDonald's. So.
That is awesome.
Old coaches breaking into young coaches.
But now look at you now, right?
Yep.
I mean, to get to this point.
Now I get them back. Now I get to get them back.
Coach, tell us a little bit about, your role now on Travis's staff, dealing with high school relations, being a Hall of Fame high school coach. I mean, it kind of feels like it's a perfect, job for you to be able to do as far as, what you know, who you know, what you're able to do. Kind of tell us a little bit about what that role is supposed to be.
I wished I knew exactly what it was, and I think we're going to be kind of deciding that as we go along, whatever I need to do. At this time, we just sent out an email to all the Rio Grande Valley coaches with a schedule of spring training, inviting them to come, watch the drills, watch the workouts. There's a couple of coaches that got in touch with me, and I've scheduled times with them to meet with the offensive staff or defense staff. I think we'll get a lot more of that as we go along, and they come to the games and see the Vakaros play and see the success we're going to have. And I think not this spring, because our performance center is not finished. Next spring, I know a lot of the coaches have talked to me about they really love to go to Mike Brown's clinic at the University of Texas and the way he had things organized and the part of spring training. So I think a year from now, we'll be planning a spring clinic that we'll have in the performance center where the Valley coaches can come and watch workouts. It'll be one that we're having a weekend, maybe Saturday workout, and they can be a part of the workouts and can visit with the coaches and have film sessions with the coaches. So I think I would help facilitate those things. That's what I see as my role. As times come and we have ball games, there'll be, I think, a limited number of high school coaches will be allowed in the games and places to sit, and I'll help facilitate tickets and getting interest in those games, stuff like that. So we're kind of feeling our way and inventing the job as we go along.
Oh, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of get into. You know, aside from the clinics, you know, are you know, the coaches and, you know, whether the head coaches or assistant coaches, young coaches, kids, you know, what kind of access, you know, are they going to be able to have, you know, like throughout, you know, I mean, I don't want to say throughout the season because obviously you guys are busy, you guys got your own thing going on, so are they. But like in the off season, are they going to be like allowed, you know, access to kind of the same kind of resources to kind of see what you guys have, to see what they can kind of.
Yeah, our doors are always open to coaches. We've had coaches in our offices this week. I think we got the Mecca Memorial staff coming next week. So really and encourage that, because, you know, we've been blessed to be places we have, and we didn't invent anything in the game of football. We've learned it from other people, and we've had the opportunities to be exposed to so many things. So just that opportunity to pass down anything we've learned, not necessarily from us, but our system. We have every college game. We have film of every single college game for the past 10 years at every level. They can come study. They can come study University of Texas at our place. They can come study other people, you know, just to help them with resources that we have that we can help. And we've had some staffs come in, and a couple staffs met with us last year. They did some things and had a really good year. So really trying to encourage as many people to come up. You know, student athletes are always welcome. So those guys are, you know, even like when our practices are closed to the public, always open to high school coaches and available for them to help them out.
You know, we hear stories about kind of like the deep ties that you guys have here in the Valley. You know, you mentioned that your wife was from Mercedes, and I believe yours was from McAllen. You know, what kind of ties do you see that kind of help you guys to kind of get like the head start or a jump start to get the community behind you as far as, you know, with the upcoming program?
Well, you know, just again the experience of again growing up down here, and even the family of ours from Mercedes. Even when we moved to Allison Corpus, really the closer family spent a lot of time down here with that side of the family, and really just kind of understanding the Valley and understanding the communities, and being able to come out and quickly relate and connect with people and in businesses all the way, you know, throughout the Valley. And some of those are relationships, guys that again you played for him. There's people that I've known for a long time down here that are owners of things, and so we can just that experience help, you know, create some connections right off the bat.
And speaking of the Valley, one of the questions I wanted to ask is there a different vibe here in the Valley than anywhere else, would you say?
It is. I think so. It's neat. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, you've got the vibe of your cities, your metroplexes, your Dallas and San Antonio, Houston, and then you got the vibe of small town laid back communities, you know, your Bernies, your Seguins, places we've been. So it's really a neat collection of people, and you got people that aren't from here, you got people from here, you got people from Mexico, you've got a nice melting pot of culture and people. It's a fun place. I enjoy it. I love the people. I love the food.
Mm-hmm.
Love
the best food.
The
best
environment, you know, and you have everything you need. You got a beach an hour down the road. You've got every food store, restaurant, anything you need, airports. So it's a good spot.
And we were kind of talking about this the other day, kind of bringing up culture, you know, and you might remember with your time there at UTSA, but we were talking about how San Antonio loves their teams. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's the Spurs, whether it's the UTSA Roadrunners. You know, San Antonio buys into these new teams, and they just the way they're able to get the community behind them is just really awesome to see. And we feel like the Valley has that same potential. Like we love our teams.
No doubt.
And how has been the community so far, would you say, like support-wise?
Well, you know, same thing. We talked in recruiting to our recruits, the fact that all our season tickets are sold out. You know, suites are sold out for the next 4 years. And that people don't realize, and we try to tell those community ticket holders, like that has helped us get these recruits. Stuff like that. It's not just us recruiting kids and our offense, defense. It's the entire program, the Valley, all the fans that are involved, and the fact that they've shown that support is what drew a lot of these recruits to us. So they're helping us get better kids too. But you look at, he talks about the high school games back when everyone, every town just had one team, and yeah, I know things have changed now with live streaming and so many teams, but you look how they rally around the playoff teams, and the last Valley team standing. We went to the Vets Miller game last year, and in that crew, and so there's no doubt they've already shown the support, but they're going to be behind this, and they love football, and I mean, there's going to be tailgating and music and smoke and all kinds of stuff going on, and then the ball game, and that's going to be sold out.
So with that being said, I know we're having a casual conversation right now, but how excited are you guys about this upcoming season?
We've got to. There's days you got to sit back and remind yourself, because we're so busy. We're so busy. We're so focused on what's next and this, and there's so many things that need to happen before that day. But looking back, because we were actually in the meeting room yesterday looking at some offensive cut-ups, and some shots came back on the video from the very first game at UTSA, and you could just see the packed house and the fans, the excitement, the first touchdown in school history we watched yesterday, and then so it gets us started, kind of get your juices flowing, like who's going to score that first touchdown? What's that atmosphere going to look like when we come out of that tunnel for the first time? So there's days you gotta click the tab from being busy to looking ahead and enjoying the moment a little bit. Yeah.
To kind of add into that, what kind of challenges have you guys been seeing, within this first year of trying to get this program up and running?
Nothing extraordinary, which goes back to the plan that was put in place way before a head coach was hired here with Dr. Bailey and Chase Conk, and the behind the scenes work they've done for this runway, and the plan that things have come up. We found solutions. We're moving. We've gotten everything we need in the program. Everything that was promised, we found a way to get done. So that's been a question a lot of people have asked, because looking back at UTSA, there were a lot of issues starting out. But I mean, the facilities are on track. We've got first-class facilities. There's just so much goes back to Chase Conk and the job he's done. But there's days I'm like, no, we haven't. There has been no issues, and we've been getting great recruits. There's still some things, and there's a lot of unknowns still between now and what, getting, balancing our roster out as soon as we can, and, how are we going to match up this first year starting out? But, right now we're just focused on one day at a time and winning each day at a time.
I believe that every coach, when he gets I don't want to say his first job, but when he gets a new job, he wants to leave his mark on it. He wants to leave his stamp as some kind of almost leaving like a brand new tradition that can build. What kind of stamp are you hoping that you can kind of put in with UTRGV?
It's really, and I'll say it's not my stamp. It's not my team. This is the Valley's team, and this is something that's been around here for a long time. When they started talking about football here, I've been one for years that has come down here and said if they ever got football at this university, it'd be nuts. And then when they started talking about it, I was dead set to be the biggest fan. I had no idea that I would actually be the one involved, so that's kind of surreal as well. But I mean, it's been a great experience, and I mean, each day's been fun. We talk all the time in our program. I mean, there's so many unknowns starting out, but we want to put a product on the field that the Valley's proud of. We want our young men to represent our university, our program, and the Rio Grande Valley with pride. So it's nothing about, hey, this is my stamp. We want to get this program started the right way, with a good culture, a good backbone, a good foundation, but really, something where it's an event. Saturday's not a game; it's an event. Everybody in the stands are involved. The tailgates, the fajita cook-off competition, everything that goes in with people looking forward to that day, looking forward to the season, looking forward to what they're going to see on the field, and they can walk away being proud. That's kind of what we're looking to put the stamp on.
I'm pretty pumped right now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty pumped right now.
I know I'm ready for August 30th too.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that point, August 30th, what goes through your mind when you hear August 30th?
We got that countdown clock in our locker room. You walk in every day, and that thing's, I think it was like 185 the other day, and it's just rolling. So it makes you get to work. It's going to be here. We're going to blink, and we're going to be on that bus heading to the stadium. So again, we got our mindset right now is we got so much work to do. We have to get all this done, but it's going to be a phenomenal day. It's going to be a historic day. It's going to be a day remembered in the Valley long after we're gone. So just again, thrilled to be a part of it. We're going to talk to our team. I know about enjoying the day, enjoying the moment, and it's everyone's going to play good. Everyone's going to be excited, but really not letting moments like that pass you by.
Right.
Not getting so caught up with your job. At some point, you got to look up and look in the stands and realize, hey, this was all on a sheet of paper 3 years ago, and now this is actually real. So it'll be neat.
It's going to be awesome.
Coach, I think before we go, we're gonna put you on the hot seat real quick, right? We've got 4 guys here that are slot T guys. Our producer is a slot T guy, and we're gonna see, we want to see you kind of bring back some of the slot T.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're working with over here.
So what we got
It's
here?
like Bill Walsh gets to draw up plays, and yeah.
So
you're gonna draw it up, not me, huh?
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna. If I draw it up, I'll mess it up.
Let's open it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Right there. Okay.
Well, you hadn't got enough people on line of scrimmage to show that, and I don't have enough room to draw them, But times have changed. We'll run it from a left set. Since I said that, yeah. The strong end. You're talking about 349, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me kind of get up here. I got to kind of semi-stand up here. All right, the tight end will be over here on this side over here. That's what we call our strong end, and so we'll put strong end right there. Strong end. And on this side is where we had our slot. So we had what we call a swing man, which was a slash wide receiver. We call him swing man because he went from side to side. This was our strong side, and this was our quick side. These are usually the bigger, stronger people, and these are the quicker people. Anyway, the slot back was right here. Tailback was our fastest back. Then our fullback was usually a quicker person, and our power back was really our halfback. Over here, that's where Gilbert Salinas played and some of those times. Those are really other people's fullback. So our basic goal line play, we ran 349, which goes back years and years. You go back to the Green Bay sweep, back in the day, is we blocked down, and then we pulled the guards, and the quick guard would kick out, and then we'd cover onside, backside here, and then the strong guard would lead through.
Almost like the buck sweep.
Exactly. We'd fake the trap. Here's the quarterback, and then here come it is the buck sweep is exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And, people talk about running inside, outside. We taught them to run the stovepipe, to run the stovepipe right there because that's the power alley. And when we ran on goal line, we'd call 349 goal line, if you remember, because people would get in the A-gaps at that time, and people come through the A-gaps, so you block both A-gaps with these guys, and you let the fullback replace the quick guard, and the fullback would kick out, and then the halfback would lead through. But it's a power offense, and really the thing about the slot T is that you have an extra guy over here. If you notice, we got an extra guy on the line over here. Well, people they have to play you balanced because your strong side's over there. So if they do adjust to your slot side, which they got to do eventually, if you run 349 good enough, they got to slant this away, put somebody over, you got an extra guy. Well, if they adjust, then you motion and you go back to the other side. Then you run 236 and 228. So when you start the ball game, you count on people adjusting to your slot. So you start out with 236, if you remember, usually 236 is the first play, strong side stuff, and then make them move back to stop that side. Then you come back with the quick side stuff. So that's the basics behind the slot T, but it is old-fashioned stuff. We were very organized, and people for years, and even now, PSG North runs some semblance of this at different times. They have power offense that he'll run, and he's been very successful there. As over the years, PSG North has always been pretty successful with a power offense. But people would ask me about going to the spread, this, that, and the other, and I'd always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
So I didn't ever try to change.
There was no need to.
A lot of it is what you know. It's not it's what you can teach and teach simply. So
And Travis,
anyway.
on that note, are we going to see any slot T in your offense?
There is some merit. We do a lot of things. Even some of our run schemes, even though they might be from spread gun looks, but if you evaluate the blocking schemes, it's really identical. So there is a lot of similarities in the run game. But we'll get under center and short yardage and things like that, and we'll be in those power sets and we'll run that exact play. Still good at any level.
Let's go,
Coach. It was super exciting watching you go over that play right there. Brought back a whole lot of memories. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We cannot thank you enough We want to wish you so much luck on the upcoming year. The Valley's rooting for you guys. We're rooting for this team. We're hoping for big things, and we know that you guys are going to be able to kind of help to get the ball rolling there, and it's going to be so exciting to see.
Thank y'all for having us today, and I know that Travis in his time at UTSA, that first ball game, of course he was offensive coordinator. We were there. He was electric, and I think UTRGV has a lot of alumni out there, just like UTSA did, that always wanted football, and they're going to be there. And when they first take that field, it's going to be an electric time. It's going to be an exciting time to be thing for us to be a part of.
I think so. We look so forward to it. Travis, thank you so much.
No, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's going to do it for us on the Valley Up podcast. Once again, just a huge thank you to our guests, all of our guests, Daniel Gonzalez, Travis Bush, and of course, Bruce Bush. That's going to do it for us on the Valley Up podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.
The Valley Up podcast is sponsored by
Harness the strength of a warrior and the wisdom of a sensei in your fight for justice. Step into the Justice Dojo, where every legal challenge is met with the focus and precision of a black belt sensei.
Ready? Fight!
Justice with honor. Contact Daniel San Gonzalez today.
My name is April, and recently I was involved in a motor vehicle accident, and I was referred here by my doctor. I've been very pleased with the experience that I've had here at Brush Creek. My daughter was with me in the accident, so I was very motivated to get better, get back on my feet. I was definitely 100% ready to come back each and every single time. The first week I was kind of scared to come, but little by little they encouraged me to keep coming. Each week I saw progress. If you have been hurt in a car accident, I would definitely recommend Brush Creek. Brush Creek alleviated my pain. They increased my mobility and brought me back to my everyday activities of daily living.
At Brush Creek Injury and Accident, we specialize in helping you recover after an accident. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, a slip and fall, or any other injury, our expert team is here to provide the care you need. Because your recovery is our priority,